We are living in a world that tells us to chase happiness. Every advertisement, every social media post, every motivational slogan seems to point in that direction. Be happy, stay happy, pursue happiness at all costs. And yet, if we are honest with ourselves, how many of us can say that happiness lasts? Think of the last time you felt truly happy. Maybe it was when you achieved something, when you bought something new, or when someone praised you. How long did that feeling stay? A few hours, a day, maybe two. Eventually, it faded, and once it faded, you were left with the same question again. What's next? That is the nature of happiness. It comes, it excites us, it lifts us, and then it leaves. It is tied to external circumstances. When conditions are favorable, happiness appears. When conditions change, happiness disappears. And this is why people spend their lives in a cycle of chasing the next goal, the next possession, the next relationship, the next validation. They are not chasing life, they are chasing chemicals in the brain. And as long as we believe that happiness is the ultimate goal, we remain bound to this cycle, like a wheel that never stops turning. Peace, however, is of a different nature. Peace does not depend on what is happening outside. Peace is an inner state. You can sit in a crowded city, surrounded by noise and chaos, and still feel peaceful. And you can also be in the most beautiful place in the world, with all the wealth and comfort you could imagine, yet feel disturbed, restless, anxious. So, peace is not a product of the environment. It is a product of your inner being. Philosophers have spoken about this distinction for centuries. The Stoics, for example, never spoke about happiness the way we do today. They spoke about tranquility of mind, about equanimity, about freedom from disturbance. The Buddha did not say, seek happiness. He said, seek liberation from suffering. And liberation is another way of describing peace. Even modern psychology has begun to notice this difference. Studies show that people who chase happiness directly often end up feeling less satisfied, more pressured, and more anxious. But people who cultivate peace through acceptance, mindfulness, inner balance, report higher levels of well-being over time. The problem with happiness is not that it is bad. Happiness is wonderful. We all enjoy moments of joy, and there is nothing wrong with that. The problem arises when we make happiness our goal, when we believe that life is only successful if we are constantly happy. That belief will always leave us disappointed, because life is not designed that way. Life is not one constant festival. Life includes joy and sorrow, gains and losses, praise and criticism, success and failure. If your goal is happiness, you will only accept half of life. But if your goal is peace, you will accept the whole of life. Peace allows you to sit with joy without clinging to it, and to sit with sorrow without being destroyed by it. It allows you to experience the highs without losing yourself in them, and the lows without collapsing. This is why peace is eternal. Happiness fades, but peace sustains you even in the darkest moments. A peaceful person may not always be smiling, but they are always steady, and that steadiness is what every human being truly needs. Think of the ocean. On the surface, there are waves, sometimes calm, sometimes violent. That is happiness. It rises, it falls, it crashes, it disappears. But deep beneath the surface, the ocean is still. That stillness is peace. If you live only on the surface, you are constantly at the mercy of the waves. But if you anchor yourself deeper, the storms may rage above you, but within you remain unshaken. This is why many of the people we admire most, spiritual teachers, philosophers, even wise elders, do not always look happy in the ordinary sense. They are not running around with endless excitement. Instead, they radiate calm. They have found something more enduring than happiness. They have found peace. So, when we talk about what we want from life, we need to ask ourselves honestly, do we want to feel a temporary high, or do we want to live with an enduring sense of stability? If happiness comes, let it come, enjoy it, welcome it, but do not depend on it. Because the moment you depend on it, you are enslaved by it. Instead, cultivate peace. Learn to be still, to be centered, to be grounded in yourself. And this is the paradox. The more you cultivate peace, the more happiness will naturally arise. Not the forced happiness of chasing, but the quiet joy of being at ease with life. Happiness becomes a byproduct, not the main goal. You begin to smile, not because something happened, but because you are at peace with whatever is happening. So, do not ask life to make you happy. Ask yourself, how can I be at peace, regardless of what life brings me? That question alone changes everything, because once you have peace, happiness can come and go and you will remain whole. Without peace, happiness can come and go and you will always feel empty. The truth is simple. Happiness is a guest, peace is a home. Guests leave, but home stays. Choose the home. If happiness is temporary and fleeting, then what do most people do? They chase it. They run after it, hoping that if they just get enough of it, it will finally stay. But this is where the real trap lies. The trap of constant pursuit. You can see it everywhere. Someone believes that if they get the promotion, then they'll be happy. If they buy the house, then they'll be happy. If they travel, if they find the perfect partner, if they achieve recognition, then happiness will arrive and stay. And maybe for a short moment, it does. But then, like sand slipping through their fingers, it fades. The brain adapts, the excitement becomes normal, and the person finds themselves restless again, needing the next thing. This cycle never ends. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Imagine running on a treadmill. You're moving, you're sweating, you're exhausted, but you're not actually going anywhere. The same is true when you chase happiness. You keep striving, you keep achieving, you keep consuming, but you remain in the same place emotionally. The treadmill doesn't stop, and you never arrive. Philosophy also warned us of this. The Stoics said, the more you desire, the more you become a slave to what you desire. And Buddha described it as thirst, an endless craving that leads to suffering. In modern language, we can call it chasing the next high. But no matter how many highs you collect, the lows will always follow. So long as your peace depends on what you can gain, you are never free. The problem is not that we set goals or work hard. The problem is when our sense of fulfillment depends entirely on outcomes. If you say to yourself, I will only feel complete when I get this, then you have given your peace away. You have handed control of your inner state to something outside of you. And here is the truth. Everything outside of you is temporary. Everything outside of you can be taken away. So you build a fragile life. A life where your mood, your energy, and your worth rise and fall based on circumstances you cannot control. Look at our society today. People are more connected than ever, yet loneliness is increasing. People have access to luxuries unimaginable just 50 years ago, yet anxiety and depression are higher than ever. Why? Because abundance without peace does not bring contentment. It only fuels more comparison, more pressure, more restlessness. You may get what you want, but the mind will immediately whisper, what's next? This is why many successful people, after reaching the top, admit that they still feel empty. The goalpost keeps moving. The more they achieve, the more they realize that no external milestone can fill the internal void. Without peace, even success feels incomplete. But when you cultivate peace first, something very different happens. You can still set goals, you can still work hard, you can still enjoy achievements, but you are not enslaved by them. You are not chasing them to feel whole. you are pursuing them as an expression of your wholeness. There is a big difference. One comes from lack, the other comes from fullness. Think about a person climbing a mountain. If they climb because they believe reaching the top will finally make them happy, they will suffer with every step. And when they arrive, they will feel only a short burst before asking themselves which mountain next. But if they climb because they are already at peace, the climb itself is fulfilling. The mountain is no longer a condition for happiness. It becomes a stage for expressing peace. The trap of pursuit is subtle. It hides itself in ambition, in motivation, in drive. And there is nothing wrong with ambition or motivation. But when they are fueled by restlessness, they become toxic. You will work, but you will never arrive. You will achieve, but you will never feel enough. The way out of this trap is not to stop desiring completely. The way out is to see desire for what it is: temporary, limited, unable to provide lasting fulfillment. When you see this clearly, you stop running blindly. You no longer expect the next promotion, the next purchase, the next recognition to transform your life. Instead, you begin to anchor yourself in peace. From peace, you act. From peace, you pursue. From peace, you create. And because you are no longer dependent, you are no longer trapped. The world will keep trying to convince you otherwise. It will sell you products and lifestyles, promising happiness if you just buy or achieve more. But if you observe carefully, you will see the pattern repeating endlessly around you. And maybe then you will realize that the only real freedom is to step off the treadmill, to choose peace first. Because when you stop chasing, you start living. And when you start living, happiness visits you naturally, not as something you must pursue, but as a guest who arrives because you are already at home with yourself. The chase is endless. Peace is arrival. Choose arrival. When people hear the word peace, many imagine something passive. They think of sitting quietly with closed eyes, detached from the world, disengaged from action. And because of this misunderstanding, they associate peace with weakness. They assume that to be peaceful is to lack ambition, to lack energy, to retreat from life. But this is not the truth. Peace is not the absence of strength. Peace is the foundation of strength. Look at the moments in your own life when you lost times, when anger overcame you, or when fear consumed you, or when anxiety made it impossible to think clearly. In those moments, did you feel strong? Did you feel capable? No. You felt scattered, powerless, and reactive. The mind was clouded, emotions were in command, and decisions were not yours to make consciously. That is what happens when peace is absent. You may shout louder, act faster, move with more aggression, but none of it is real strength. It is simply reaction, born from imbalance. Now compare that with the times when you felt calm in the face of difficulty. A crisis came, but you did not panic. Someone criticized you, but you did not crumble. An obstacle appeared, but you did not lose yourself to frustration. Instead, you remained steady, clear, and collected. In those moments, you were powerful. You were able to choose your response instead of being controlled by impulses. That is what peace gives you. Not weakness, but clarity. And clarity is strength. Think of a warrior on the battlefield. The one who is consumed by rage may swing wildly, but he wastes his energy. He loses his awareness. He becomes reckless. The one who is calm, grounded, and centered can see clearly, conserve energy, and act precisely. Which one has the greater chance of winning? The answer is obvious. It is the calm warrior who is dangerous, because his actions are rooted in awareness, not in chaos. Peace makes him formidable. This is not just about combat. In daily life, the same principle applies. A peaceful person is not easily manipulated because they are not desperate for validation or approval. A peaceful person cannot be easily provoked because they are not governed by ego. A peaceful person can face uncertainty with patience while others collapse under fear. This is real strength, the kind of strength that sustains you not for a moment but for a lifetime. Many people confuse restlessness with drive. They think that if they are constantly agitated, constantly chasing, constantly striving, it means they are strong and ambitious. But agitation burns energy. It drains the body, clouds the mind, and leads to exhaustion. Peace, on the other hand, conserves energy. When you are at peace, your actions are not frantic. They are deliberate. You move with focus, and because of that, your energy is not wasted. You become efficient, like a river flowing steadily, not like water splashing chaotically in every direction. The great teachers of history embodied this. The Buddha was not weak. He sat with stillness, but his presence transformed entire kingdoms. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, ruled one of the most powerful empires in history, yet his writings constantly return to tranquility of mind. Even in positions of immense responsibility, he understood that strength comes not from restless striving but from inner stability. And in the Shaolin tradition, which I follow, martial arts is not about aggression, it is about discipline, control, and harmony. The punch is effective, not because it comes from anger, but because it comes from stillness. Peace is also resilience. Life will test you. You will face failures, betrayals, losses, and moments of deep uncertainty. If your strength depends only on external success, then when life shakes you, you will collapse. But if your strength is rooted in peace, you bend, but you do not break. You are like the bamboo in the wind, flexible, but unshaken at the root. That is why peace is not only strength, it is survival. It is what allows you to endure storms without losing yourself. So the question is, do you want to be a person who reacts or a person who responds? Do you want to be at the mercy of every emotion, or do you want to be the master of your emotions? If you seek strength in its deepest form, then seek peace. Because the calm mind can see opportunities that the restless mind misses. The calm heart can endure what the agitated heart cannot. The calm person can walk into chaos and still bring order. Peace is not weakness. It is not withdrawal. It is not resignation. Peace is mastery. Peace is awareness. Peace is the highest form of strength because it gives you the ability to act with precision when others act with confusion and to remain steady when others lose balance. And here is the paradox. When you cultivate peace, you may appear quiet on the outside, but inside there is a force that cannot be shaken. It is not loud, it does not need to shout, but it is undeniable. That is the kind of strength worth building. So do not mistake peace for passivity. Do not think that being calm means being weak. The truth is the opposite. Peace is power, and the one who carries peace within themselves is the one who cannot be defeated. We've seen how happiness is temporary, how chasing it traps us in a cycle, and how peace is not weakness, but real strength. The natural question then arises, how do we actually live this way? How do we stop chasing happiness and begin choosing peace instead? The answer is not complicated, but it requires honesty. It begins with shifting the question we ask ourselves. Most people wake up and ask consciously or unconsciously, what will make me happy today? That question sets the tone for their actions. They look outside themselves. They search for stimulation, comfort, validation, or success. But peace begins when we change the question. Instead of asking, what will make me happy? Ask, what will bring me peace? Immediately the focus shifts inward. The search is no longer for a fleeting high, but for a lasting foundation. When you choose peace, it changes the way you move through life. You stop being desperate for every desire to be fulfilled. You stop clinging to every victory as if it must define you, and you stop fearing every loss as if it will destroy you. You begin to cultivate acceptance, and acceptance does not mean resignation. It means seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be, and then responding with clarity. Peace allows you to live life on life's terms. One practical way to choose peace is through stillness. Most of us live in constant motion, always consuming information, always planning the next task, always reacting to notifications, news, and noise. Stillness feels uncomfortable at first because it confronts us with ourselves. But in that stillness, we begin to see that peace is not created by adding more to life. It is uncovered by subtracting the unnecessary. Just a few minutes each day of sitting quietly, breathing deeply, observing your thoughts without judgment. This is how peace begins to take root. Another way is through mindfulness in action. Peace is not only found in meditation or silence, it is found in the way you eat, the way you walk, the way you speak. If you eat while scrolling your phone, your mind is divided. If you walk while worrying about tomorrow, your body moves but your awareness is elsewhere. Choosing peace means bringing attention fully into the present moment. Eating becomes nourishment, not distraction. Walking becomes a practice, not just movement. Conversations become opportunities to connect, not just to react. This is how peace stops being an abstract idea and becomes lived experience. Peace also requires letting go of comparison. Much of our unhappiness comes from measuring ourselves against others, their wealth, their appearance, their achievements. The mind creates a story that you are behind, that you are less, that you must catch up. But peace asks a different question. Am I living true to myself? You do not need to run in someone else's race. You only need to walk your own path with integrity. The moment you stop comparing, you release a huge burden, and in that release, peace arises. It is also important to understand that peace does not mean avoiding difficulty. On the contrary, peace is forged through difficulty. When life presents challenges, the mind's instinct is to resist, to fight, to demand that reality be different. But resistance creates suffering. Choosing peace means meeting challenges with equanimity, not passivity, but calm engagement. You deal with what is in front of you without allowing it to poison your mind. You face the storm without becoming the storm. There will be people who misunderstand this path. They will see you not rushing, not chasing, not competing, and they may call you unmotivated. But in time, they will notice something else. While they burn out, you endure. While they are restless, you are steady. While they are enslaved by highs and lows, you move with balance. Eventually, they will recognize that what you carry is not weakness, but freedom. And here lies the deepest truth. When you cultivate peace, happiness is not lost. It appears more naturally, but it is a lighter, freer happiness, one that does not bind you. You can enjoy a beautiful sunset, a kind word, a success at work, without clinging to it, without needing it to last forever. And when it fades, as it always will, your peace remains untouched. So, the choice is in your hands. Do you want to continue running, always chasing a happiness that slips away, or do you want to cultivate the inner stability that cannot be taken from you? Peace is available now, not in the future, not after you achieve something, not after the world changes, but now in the way you breathe, in the way you respond, in the way you let go. Happiness is a spark. Peace is the flame. One flickers and fades. The other illuminates the path. Choose the flame.